All right, fourth grade, it is time for language, and it is a practice lesson video, so I want you to have your book open to page 188 with a pencil ready to go. We're going to work through this box and then practice together. So we learned last week a little bit about adverbs and how they describe verbs as adjectives describe nouns. Today we're going to learn about them describing adjectives and other adverbs. So just going back to the basics. Some adverbs describe adjectives and other adverbs. When looking for adverbs, first find the verb and ask the adverb questions. If you don't remember what those questions are, they're on page 184, these 5 questions: where, when, how often, to what extent. Those are very important. So you first find the verb, ask those questions so you determine that adverb that matches the verb. Always do the adverbs for the verb first, and then you'll move on. Then look to see if there's an adverb describing an adjective or another adverb. So here's a clue. So whenever, without reading this whole sentence here, you can go back and read that yourself. When an adverb describes a verb, it can be anywhere in the sentence. It can be in the middle of a verb phrase, before or after the verb it modifies, or at the beginning of a sentence, nowhere near the verb it modifies. However, an adverb which modifies an adjective or another adverb always comes right before the word it modifies, and it usually answers the question, to what extent. Typically, whenever it's describing an adverb or an adjective, it's going to be right before the adverb or adjective, and it's typically going to answer to what extent. So that's a clue. So if we're looking at the sentence here, he spoke for an unusually long time today. Spoke is the verb, he spoke is the subject and verb. Today answers when. When did he speak? He spoke today. Unusually, do you see this ly? That's a clue word. Unusually is also an adverb because it describes the adjective long. So this long describes time. It's an adjective. Time is a noun. Long describes that noun, so it's an adjective. Unusually is an adverb right before the adjective long that describes the adjective. Okay? Now over here, to, very, so. Circle it like I did. Maybe don't cross it out. I'm watching the camera, not my hand, so it's hard. All right, star it. Always need to know that to, very, and so are adverbs which usually describe the word immediately following them. So here you are too late. How late or to what extent are you late? Too late to participate in the contest. Late to what extent is that question? He answered very politely. To what extent was his politeness, or how politely? Very politely, okay? Mary is impolitely, actually. How did he answer? He answered politely. So this is an ly, so that's an adverb. Are late, that's a verb. Nope. You are late is, I believe, an I don't know what that is. Anyway. It's just showing that it's described. I think it's an adjective. But he answered very politely. Politely is an adverb describing answered, but very describes that. Mary is so pretty that she is becoming conceited. Pretty describes Mary. It's an adjective. So describes that adjective. Okay. So let's practice a little bit here. Number 1. The instructions say in each of the following sentences, an adverb modifies an adjective or an adverb. Underline the adverb and draw a small neat arrow to the adjective or adverb it modifies. Okay, so we're looking not for the ones that modify the verb, but we do need to determine those first. So in this sentence, the garden suffered from an unusually early frost this year. My subject is gardens, verb is suffered. Suffered how? There's not really anything, but if you look here, this is a noun, frost. Early describes frost. Here's an ly word. Unusually is an adverb that describes the adjective early, okay? Number 2, the disciples thought the boys' lunch was too small to matter. The disciples thought is my subject, my verb. But do you see any adverb clues in here? Right here, to, T-O-O, to what? To small. Small describes lunch. It's a small lunch. This is an adjective. This is an adverb that describes this adjective. Number 3, James arose very early to go fishing. James arose And do you see any clue words or clue things about adverbs? Early, ly, this isn't quite the same thing, but this is an adjective about how it is an adverb, yes, because it's describing to what extent did he arise? He rose early. Or when did he arise? Early. But we're looking for adverbs that describe adjectives or adverbs. And right here is up here again, to, very, and so. It describes early. Last one together, Rover ate the meat scraps quite eagerly. Rover ate, right? How did he eat? He ate eagerly. So this describes the verb ate. Ly, eagerly, is an adverb for the verb ate, but we're looking for adverbs that describe either adjectives or adverbs. And look right here. To what extent was he eager, or how eagerly? He was quite eagerly. Okay, so do your best on these, guys. Let me know how you do. Let's go over to Think A on page 189. Each of the following sentences contains an adverb which describes the verb. Underline the verb 2 times and then write the adverb in the blank. So this is going back to the verb and adverb. Okay, so this is a little easier. The children walked out to the playground. Hold on, I'm sorry. So my subject is children, my verb is walked. Okay, what is my adverb? How did they walk? Where did they walk? When did they walk? Out. Out describes where did they walk. So our adverb is out. And you know what? I'm really fine if you just draw a neat arrow from the adverb to the verb. That is fine with me instead of writing it out. Number 2, a mockingbird sang up in the tree. Mockingbird is my subject. Sang is my verb. How did the mockingbird sing? Where did the mockingbird sing? When did the mockingbird sing? I think we already found our question. It is up. Okay, up describes where the mockingbird sang. So up is my adverb, sang is my verb. Number 3, Grace listened attentively to his song. Grace is my subject. Listened is my verb. Okay. And this adverb is easy because it's an ly. To what extent did she listen, or how did she listen? She listened attentively. Last one in the section, her eyes searched everywhere in the tree for the bird. Eyes, searched is my verb. Where did she search? How did they search? When did they search? They searched everywhere. Where did they search is the question to show this adverb. Okay, so you're going to finish this section here, and then down to Think B. An adverb which modifies an adjective or an adverb is italicized in each of the following sentences. In the blank, write the word which the italicized adverb modifies. I'm fine again with arrows. Let's do number 1 together. The child walked very slowly down the stairs. What word does this modify? It modifies this adverb slowly. Slowly describes how they walked. To what extent was the slowness? Very slowly, okay? Number 2, Brianna was really tired after the track meet. Was tired is my verb. Really what? Well, I guess actually was is just the verb. Tired is an adverb describing that. So this describes, because you can't tired. Okay, moving on to number 3. Before a bad storm, the sky is quite dark. So before a bad storm, sky is my subject and my verb. Dark describes to what extent the sky was, which means quite is an adverb describing the adverb dark. How dark? Quite dark. Or to what extent was the darkness? And last one, we were too late to go on a nature hike. Now remember, our clue is that when it's too and very and sad, the word it describes immediately comes after it. So let's double check. We were, subject, verb, late is an adverb, so too describes to what extent were you late, or how late? Too late, okay? So you're going to finish these 2 pages for your homework, and that is it.